Welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session, we're going to be focusing on a workshop. This is our first of a few for Employee Navigator. So if you have been joining our other workshops before, we have added some more workshops. Employee Navigator is one of them, and we've also got Ops Warmer coming up. So this is a guided learning working experience on a workshop, and we will be showing you how to do configuration today. And today's presenter is going to be led by Veronica. She will do her introduction very shortly when we get started. So just a reminder how this works. Very similar to our webinars. There is the Q&A section of Zoom. You can find that at the bottom of your screen. If you do have any questions, please put them in there. Veronica is joined by her team today that will be able to answer those questions, and you may recognize some of them because they've also been running some of the other workshops. So we'd just ask for you to use the Q&A, and then if we've got some time at the end, we will answer some of the questions live. And please also note, some of our workshops do take longer than the usual, which is an hour. So we are expecting to be covering about an hour and a half today. This session is being recorded, but for your own benefit, it would make sense to stay here for the full duration. If you do have to drop, we will be sharing out the recording post-event. And of course, there is a way of getting in contact with the specialists that are on here today. So Veronica, without further ado, because I know you've got a lot to cover, I'm now going to hand over to you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Good day, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Veronica Mena, and I am part of the Helix Adoption Advisor team here at BMC Helix. My purpose today is to be your dedicated guide through the configuration steps of the Employee Navigator. To ensure we make the best use of our time, let's quickly review the agenda and the structure of this session. Our agenda is structured to take you from the foundational knowledge to a complete working configuration. First, we will set the stage by looking at the structure of today's session and our core goals. I want to make sure that we are all aligned on what success looks like by the time that we wrap up. From there, we will move into an introduction to the Employee Navigator. This will give you the big picture view of how this fits in our ecosystem and the value that brings to your company. Next is the hands-on portion. This is where I will walk you through the actual step process, step by step, and we are going to validate the configuration that we will put in place. And finally, we will wrap up with a QA session. We want to make sure that all the questions are answered. So feel free to post the questions in the QA panel as we go, or just save your specific technical questions for the end of the session. Why we are here? The primary purpose of this session today is to get the hands-on on a successfully configured Helix GPT Employee Navigator for the BMC Helix digital workplace. By the end of this workshop, our goal for each of you is to have a fully functional Employee Navigator operating with your environment. To achieve this, we will utilize three main tools: Innovation Studio and Helix GPT Agent Studio for the core configuration. And Digital Workplace, this is where we are going to transfer the Employee Navigator configuration that we are going to put in place. We want this to be an interactive and productive session. If at any point you hit a roadblock or simply have a question, please reach out to our team of experts in the QA panel. We are here to ensure you leave this workshop with a working solution. So let's start. Before we dive into the configuration, we need to ensure that your environment meets all the necessary prerequisites. Please take a moment to verify these key areas. Your environment must be running BMC Helix Service Management version 25.4. The next step is crucial for your live integration to work. The live chat service must correctly configure with the proper Helix API point and credentials. Please take a moment to verify the settings by navigating into the Innovation Studio, Administration, Cognitive and Chatbot, and Live Chat. If you find that these settings are blank or incorrect, please submit a case with BMC support immediately to have them updated. As for the roles and permissions, please ensure your account has Innovation Studio admin and Helix GPT admin permissions, as well as DWP admin privileges. Without this, you won't be able to access the necessary tools for today's configuration. The Employee Navigator supports either Azure OpenAI or Google Gemini. Please ensure that you have an active subscription for your chosen model to proceed. In addition, I think this is quite important. For Azure OpenAI, I highly recommend avoiding preview versions. General available API versions will deliver more reliable and stable results than a preview version. And finally, please have your LLM details available. You will need your API endpoint, your API key, and the specific version number during the setup process. Having these items ready now will ensure a smooth and successful configuration during the rest of the session. Now that we have covered the prerequisites, let's introduce the workflow within the BMC Helix GPT Agent Studio. This is a dedicated application used to configure all the Helix GPT solutions. When we work with the Agent Studio, our configuration follows a specific four-step work. Everything starts with the data ingestion. Before our agent can answer a single question, we must feed it into the right information by connecting to your knowledge source. Once the knowledge data is ready, we configure the model, like Azure OpenAI or Gemini, and then we could proceed with information. Next, we set up the agent, which acts as the persona or the interface that interacts with your employee. And finally, we define the specific skill or task those agents are authorized to perform. To access this area, you will need Innovation Suite admin permission. You can find the studio by navigating from the BMC Helix Innovation Suite directly into the BMC Helix GPT Agent Studio. Understanding this flow is really essential, as each layer builds upon the previous one to create a cohesive experience. Let's look at how we feed information into the system to ensure Helix GPT provides accurate and grounded answers. This process is divided in two main stages: configuration and ingestion. First, we look at the data source configuration. On the left, you can see a vast selection of data sources we support. The items involved, specifically BMC Helix Knowledge Management by Come-Around and BMC Helix ITSM Knowledge Management, are out-of-the-box integration. These are pre-built and ready for immediate connection. Beyond this, we support different types of sources like Confluence, SharePoint, and ServiceNow. This flexibility ensures that no matter where your institutional knowledge lives, our Helix GPT technology can reach it. Once the connection is established, the magic happens in the ingestion engine. All published documentation is automatically indexed by a scheduled job for these sources into the BMC Helix GPT. A key technical advantage is that we support various attachment formats. The system doesn't just read plain text. It extracts and understands content from TXT, docs, or PDF files. In short, we simplify the connection and ensure the data is fully injected. It is also important to talk about the skills, agents, and tools, and specifically how we manage seeded data within Helix GPT. Seeded data refers to the built-in protected resources that come preloaded in the system to provide baseline capabilities. Helix GPT Agent Studio is seeded with the full configuration values to help you get started quickly. These records are intended to be used as templates and sample data. They give you a proven framework to build upon. Because these seeded records are part of the core system, they are subject to change during platform updates. Therefore, our primary best practice is to create a copy of the out-of-the-box skills and agents. Keep in mind that if you use the original seeded records directly, you may lose your configuration when the Helix GPT Agent Studio is upgraded. An upgrade can override those default records, leading to a disruption of your Helix GPT solution. Once you have created a duplicate, use your custom records for all active configurations. However, never attempt to copy or modify the underlying system tools. These tools function as the fixed engine of all our agents and must never be updated by customers. By always following our best practices listed here, you ensure your configuration remains persistent and protected, regardless of the system maintenance or version upgrades. Moving forward to truly understand the why behind our configuration today, we need to define exactly what Employee Navigator is. Think of it as your best friend within the BMC Helix digital workplace. It is a sophisticated agentic AI tool designed to serve as an AI assistant. While it serves a powerful alternative to the traditional BMC Helix virtual agent, it goes much further, being truly autonomous. The system doesn't just provide static answers. It understands, decides, and reacts to the user requests in real time. By performing complex tasks and automating responses, it creates a seamless conversational experience that allows your employees to find information they need with maximum efficiency. Today, we are going to build a foundation that allows this agent to think, act on behalf of your users. To see this agentic intelligence in action, let's trace the journey of a user query through the system. This slide illustrates how we handle user intent from start to finish. Our goal here is to ensure that no matter how a query enters the system, it is routed to the most efficient resolution path possible. It all begins when a user asks a query. Before jumping to a solution, the system performs intent interpretation. If the request is vague, we have a built-in clarification loop. This ensures we fully understand the user needs before moving forward, rather than just provided irrelevant answers. Once the intent is clear, the Employee Navigator Supervisor agent branches into the three primary execution paths. The source-based guidance provided by our built-in tool. This path leverages ingested source of knowledge base to provide immediate and verified answers. The catalog suggestions and submissions. If the user needs to request a specific service or item, the catalog request agent takes over to lead the interaction. For services that comply with our Helix GPT requirements, the agent drives the user through a seamless and conversational submission process. However, for the services that are out of compliance or involve high complexity, the system provides a direct link to the formal request form. This ensures that even when a request can be handled conversationally, the user is still guided to the exact manual path they need to complete it. The live agent connection. For complex issues requiring a human interaction, the live chat agent provides a direct handoff. This can be triggered by an explicit agent transfer request. The end state for the user is always resolution. In scenarios where our agent cannot reach definite answer, it triggers a fallback option. Instead of a dead end, the user is given a choice. They can either submit a formal request or hand off to a live agent to personalize support. This puts the user in control of how they want to proceed. However, the benefit doesn't stop with the end user experience. The live agent also receives the full context of the conversation. This ensures the human agent can pick up exactly where the AI left off, providing a seamless experience for both the employee and the support team. For the user experience with Employee Navigator, we support three primary ways to interact. First, a user can simply type a question. This is the method we all know very well. On the left side, you will see a user typing a natural language query. For example, how do I connect to the VPN? In response, Helix GPT instantly puts a structured step-by-step guide directly from your knowledge base. Next, we have voice input. For hands-free experience, users can just quickly click the microphone icon. It is perfect when someone is on the move. But please keep in mind that the voice currently only supports English. Other languages are not supported just yet. Finally, as this one is one of the most powerful features, users can upload an image. By clicking the attachment icon, a user can upload a screen of the error message or the technical issue. Helix GPT actually analyzes that visual data and provides troubleshooting guidance based on that image. However, it is really important to keep in mind that for the Employee Navigator to provide a solution, a relevant knowledge article must be already in place. Our agent doesn't invent the answer. It relies entirely on the grounded information with your existing knowledge base to ensure the guidance it provides is accurate and approved by your organization. The key takeaway here is that no matter how the information is requested, the output is always consistent, grounded, and actionable. And finally, let's wrap up by looking at the core capabilities of the Employee Navigator. This tool is designed to be more than just a chatbot. It is a fully serviced conversational interface that bridges the gap between the users and support. It provides direct answers to the end user query. Instead of just linking to a long document, it extracts the answer that the user needs. Our agent is smart enough to handle ambiguity. If a user's input is unclear, the Employee Navigator will ask refining questions to guide them smoothly towards the resolution. It doesn't just provide information, it acts. User can manage service requests to a simple conversation, which is much more intuitive than traditional forms. If a request is fully compliant, the system facilitates a conversational approval. However, if it is too complex or doesn't meet specific requirements, it will provide a direct link to the service instead. We recognize that some of the issues require a human touch. When necessary, the system performs a seamless handoff to the live agent, ensuring the user is never left without a path forward. And finally, the system can deliver this full experience directly with Microsoft Teams. This allows employees to get the help without ever leaving the application they use the most. While the specific configuration for the Microsoft Teams is not covered in today's workshop, we are providing links to the additional documentation for those who wish to explore it. That concludes our overview of the prerequisites and the foundational architecture. Now it's time for the part of the session where we bring the configuration to life. At BMC Helix, we understand that setting up a new tool requires precision. Therefore, we are moving into a live hands-on demonstration in my environment, which is designed as a detailed step-by-step walkthrough. During this live configuration demo, I will break down each step, guiding you to the screens and clearly specifying which values to insert for your models, agents, and skills. The goal is for you to follow along and execute these steps in your environment. Please have your API URL and API key handy. Our ultimate goal is to ensure that you leave this session today with Employee Navigator agent completely ready to be used, enabling you to immediately leverage its full capabilities within your organization. Before we start, I have two quick indications to make. During the configuration process, I won't be able to check the chat, but I have a dedicated team of BMC experts assisting me today, and they will be monitoring the QA panel to answer any specific questions you may have. As we launch into the demo, please be aware that we will be working with multiple screens and browser tabs simultaneously. This is necessary because the configuration steps are interdependent. We highly recommend keeping all these browser tabs open as we proceed. However, if you accidentally close a window or lose your place, simply pose the question in the QA panel, and one of our dedicated advisors will help you to get back on track. With that, let's begin. I am going to turn off my camera because I have to be switching from screens, so I'd rather turn it off during the configuration. Perfect. So, all right. So let's look at where we actually go to start building this amazing page. The process is really simple. First, we start at the main gate, which is the portal. From here, we jump into the innovation suite. This is our core platform running all the BMC applications. This will bring us to the innovation studio. Now, the important part here is that we have two ways to access the Helix GPT Agent Studio. It could be either the workspace here from the All or Applications tab. You have to access the Helix GPT Agent Studio from here, when you need a low-level configuration, meaning you are working directly with the records. And the second part is from the application launcher. This is your user-friendly path. We use the waffle icon to access the dedicated Helix GPT Agent Studio interface. This is where we handle the high-level configuration, like creating the skill, the agent, and the prompts. We are going to start from the application launcher. So please click the waffle and select Helix GPT Agent Studio. Once you are in, the first stop here is going to be settings. This is the little gear here icon on the top right corner. This is where we establish the connection to your external LLM and set up the process to ingest your data. Before we dive into the full configuration, I want to start the data ingestion process. This will give your articles time to be indexed while we work on the Employee Navigator setup. By the time we are done with the configuration, most likely your articles will be ready for the demo. So let's click on the gear, and now let's expand Helix GPT, connections, and go to the information source. Don't worry if you see less or more connections in this screen. As long as you see the Helix ITSM Knowledge Management connection, you are okay. The next step will be to click on the visible columns and click on the ID. We require to have this ID, and this is the ID that is going to be making the connection with the data job ID that we have to select. So please copy this to the clipboard. And now it's time for us to start working at the record level. So we are going to get back to the Workspace Innovation Studio tab. From here, we are going to select Helix GPT Agent Studio. And from here, we are going to type from the search on the search field, please type data connection job and press enter. Now you need to check box from the item that we just selected and click on the edit data. In the data connection job window, now we need to click on new. In the new record window, you just have to enter a description name. We highly suggest that you enter something that is really descriptive. In my case, I'm going to be using RKM workshop. On the data source, please type RKM. Keep in mind that the data source code that you need to enter here is directly connected to the data source that you have in place. In my case, we are going to be using RKM. That's the reason of the data source that I am using. However, if you have another data source, please check our documentation because the code for every data source is different. And now we have to type here the connection that we just copied. After that, just please click on execute now, and now click save. Excellent. Now, please locate the record that you just created and copy the ID that you see here on the ID column. Once again, if you don't see it, you can select it from here. You just need to get it from here. And actually, yeah, you can just select it from here. Okay? Now, please close this window. And now it's time for us to search for the data connection job step. Oh, sorry, a type. Perfect. Once it is displayed from the list of the records, please click on it and now click on edit data. Please make sure that from the columns that you can see displayed in your window, you have the job ID. If you don't have it displayed, Once again, you go to the visible columns, you go here, and you select it from here. And now type under the search the ID that we just copied. And it is going to display all the articles that they are being ingested by the job ID that we just created. Keep in mind something that is very important for you guys to understand. The status that you are looking for has to be done. If you see pending or you see error, that means that the data ingestion is not completed and is not ready for the Employee Navigator to use. If you see an error here, you can always click on the record and validate what is the error detail that is giving you. And you can try to troubleshoot, or you can open a ticket with support so they can help you. Okay, so in case you see pending, just please wait. It's going to take some time, especially if you have a source, an external source that is not, for example, RTM. Sometimes takes a little bit of time, and that's the reason I chose to have this step done from the beginning, so we can have some time by the time that we configure the Employee Navigator. Most probably your articles should be ready. Okay? Now that the data is processing, we are ready to configure the Employee Navigator itself. So let's get back to the Information Sources tab on the top. And this time around, we need to select AI Service Providers. In here, you will see a predefined options. These predefined options still need to be configured by you guys. You will select any of the options that you see in the script, depending on the LLM provided of your choice. In my particular case, I have this one that has been already configured. In your case, once you select the tile, you will have to enter the information. You will have to enter a name. You will have to enter the API point URL, the API key, and the version. We are using one of the best practices that we are trying to, to communicate to the customers is using a prefix for the name. When you use a prefix, it's going to help you during the configuration process to locate the model that you have configured very easily. However, Google Vertex, for example, and OpenAI, they do not allow you to use a prefix. But for the people that is using Azure OpenAI, you can go ahead and use a prefix, as I am using in this case, BMCCH. And then once you have all the information fulfilled here, please click on Text Connection. What you are looking is exactly what we have on the screen, a connection successful. Once the connection is successful, click on Save. Now, something that I want to mention, because I've been working with different customers, for customers that they are using proxy. If they are using proxy instead of a direct connection to the LLM, you may see a connection successful message. However, the connection might not be configured correctly at your end still. When you proceed to configure the agents, sometimes the agent is not going to be able, to execute the prompts that we are just trying to test. If you have a proxy, please make sure that you are the connection that is coming from Helix, that you are, redirecting this to the right model. This is something that you guys have to do at your end. This has nothing to do with BMC, but please make sure that you are working internally with your administrator for LLM to have this connection completed. So it's just a hint of, the experience that we are having here, and hopefully you can find this handy. Okay, but for the people that they have direct connection, don't worry, this is what you have to enter. Now, in my case, I haven't changed anything, so I'm going to click Save, but I haven't changed anything. So now let's start actually now that we have established the connection, let's start the configuration step. So the first step that we are going to be doing is creating the agents that we require for the configuration of the Employee Navigator. So please go to the Agents tab. And before we proceed, let me explain you a little bit of the process that we are going to follow. We have to create 3 agents. If you remember my presentation, you might be able to put the dots together. We have to create the catalog request agent. We have to create the live chat agent, and we have to create Employee Navigator agent. Employee Navigator agent and catalog request agent, they have specific instructions in place. Therefore, we have to copy those instructions from the out-of-the-box agents before our agent or the custom agent that we are creating is able to work. So to make the process easier, we are going to start with a catalog request agent, with a live agent, and then the Employee Navigator agent. So please, from the list of agents that you see on the screen, locate your out-of-the-box catalog request agent. In my case, you can see it on the screen. For the people that is using Microsoft Teams, you will have to select this one instead. However, we are not covering this during this session, but please just take that in consideration. The catalog request agent here is just for the regular, implementation in where Microsoft Teams is not in place. But if you require to have that integration, this is the one that you have to select. So let me proceed. Select the catalog request agent from the left. And now on the right side panel, you will have to go to the instructions tab. Even though that you see all this panel gray out, the system allows you to copy the information. So please just select everything and copy that to your clipboard. And now we have the instructions ready by the time that we start creating this amazing agent. So now scroll up and select Add Agent. On the name field, please enter again the prefix if you decided to use it. In my case, it's going to be BMCH. And the name of this agent, as I explained before, is going to be Catalog Request Agent. From the type drop-down list, you will have to select Catalog Request Agent. On the description, you can type pretty much anything. So I am going to choose to type the same what I have on the name. From the provider list, you click the one of your choice. And now this is where this prefix is very handy. As you can see, many models are displayed. Some of them, you may have more than one model configured. And this is when you have the prefix, you kind of like remember which one is the one that you have to select. Once you have the model, please click on Save and Next. The next step is instructions. So now here, paste instructions that you just copy. And now click Save and Next. From the tools, there is nothing that we have to select because the agent type that we selected, that is the catalog request agent, it has the tools linked to the agent type. So please now click on Create Agent. In my case, I am not going to proceed because my agent is already configured. But you guys, you can click on and create the agent. I'm going to cancel. So we have the first agent required created. Now it's time to create the live chat agent. And the reason I am following this order is because the Employee Navigator Supervisor agent is the one that is going to be linked to the live chat agent and the catalog request agent. So I'd rather have the order, follow in this way. So by the time that I chose to create Employee Navigator Supervisor agent, I have all the information, all the agents required. So this time around, as I explained to you, this live chat agent doesn't require any instructions. So we can just come here and click on Add Agent. On the name, I'm going to be typing the same prefix that I used before. But this time around, the name of my agent will be Live Chat Agent. From the type, I am going to select Live Chat Agent. On the description, I'm going to put the same that I have on the name. The provider will be exactly the same that I selected before. Now click on Save and Next. On the instructions window, you don't need to enter any information. So just please click Save and Next. And on the Tools window, we don't have to enter information either. We just need to leave a blank because the necessary underlying tools are automatically inherited from the live chat agent type that we selected from the beginning. So now, in my case, I am not going to do it, but please click on Create Agent. Now it's time to create the last agent that we are going to require, and it's going to be the Employee Navigator Supervisor agent. As before, we will need to copy the instructions for this agent. So please locate the agent that is out of the box. For this, in this case as well, for the people that is using Microsoft Teams, you will have to select this agent instead. Okay. It's not covered here, so I'm going to select the regular Employee Navigator Supervisor agent. Once you select it, you go to the instructions and you copy the entire section, everything, to the clipboard. Now that we have the instructions, scroll up and click on the Add Agent. As before, we are going to use the prefix. And this time around, the agent is going to be called Employee Navigator Supervisor Agent. From the type drop-down list, we are going to select Supervisor. On the description, we are going to type BMCH Employee Navigator Supervisor A. I can type. Agent. From the provider list, the same as we've been using. Save and Next. And now we have to paste the instructions that we have, on the clipboard. Now click Save and Next. And unlike the other two agents that we created before, the supervisor agent requires specific tools to be manually selected. So from this window, please select Knowledge Retriever Tool, DWP Profile Search. Scroll down for you guys to locate the fallback. What is my fallback? Here. The fallback tool, as well as the DWP Event Tool and DWP Service Help Tool. These are the 5 tools that you must select. Let me repeat. Knowledge Retriever Tool, DWP Profile Search, Fallback Tool, DWP Event Tool, and DWP Service Help Tool. Once you have these selected, click Save and Next. And now we have to move to the agent plate. And this is the reason behind, again, I selected to create this agent at the last. So I have the other 2 agents ready to be selected. Okay? So from the list, please create your customized agents for the live chat. In my case, it's going to be BMC Live Chat Agent, as well as for the catalog request agent. In my case, it's going to be BMCH catalog request agent. So please make sure that you have the customized one, the ones that we just created, okay? And now click on Create Agent. As before, I am not doing it because I already have it. Excellent, so now the agents have been created. But before we can create the skill, we will have to do some updating on the records at the record level. So please, this is a very, very important part that you guys cannot miss. Otherwise, your agents are not going to be working as expected. So go back to the data connection step window that we have on the top. And now please close the data connection job step window. You have here the close button on the top of right corner. And this is taking us back to the Helix GPT Agent Studio. Now, Look for the agent type. You may see this in order, but if you don't see it, you can always, click on the arrows next to the name, and then you will have to select the agent and click on the edit data. On the edit data, please on the data editor, under the search field, just type your prefix. And this is the reason we always, try to highlight the importance of the prefix, because it helps you really through the configuration process, because otherwise sometimes you don't remember what is the name that you enter. So in this case, I have BMCH, so the agents that I have, with this prefix are displayed. So now we will have to add a specific code for the catalog request agent and for the supervisor agent. Please select your, in my case, is my BMC catalog request agent. In your case, is whatever prefix you have, and your catalog request agent. My team has provided on the panel, they have provided a specific piece of code that you will need to enter here on the configuration field. Just replace everything you said that is pretty much just empty brackets. Replace those empty brackets with the code they are giving to you. Make sure you have the opening bracket and the end bracket at the end. But the ones that you were provided at the beginning, please just replace it, okay? And make sure that you have this configuration in place. And no spaces, or anything around it. So once you have copied this information, please click on Save. I am not doing it again because my agent is ready. The next one that you have to modify or update is the one for Employee Navigator Supervisor Agent. Once again, my team has pasted the configuration required for this agent. So please make sure you have it you replace everything that you see on the configuration panel, that is just pretty much empty brackets, with information they are just pasting on the panel, okay? So please click on Save and proceed. The live agent doesn't require any changes. So it is ready to be used, so we don't have to update anything. Now, to bring everything together, we are now creating the Employee Navigator Supervisor Agent skill. So let's go back to the agents page on the Helix GPT Agent Studio. From here, select skills. From here, for the application field, the drop-down, select Digital Workplace. In here, you will see, a list of skills ready to be used, but we are going to be using our own. So please click on the Add Skill. On the name, once again, I'm going to be selecting BMCH, and it's going to be, I am going to be calling my skill, Employee Navigator for Helix. The provider will be exactly the same one that we've been using. For the use and context, please do not select anything, just leave it as is. And for the instruction type, you must select agent. Once this is completed, please click on Add. I have it already, so I won't do it. Now, from the left panel, locate your new created skill. And on the right side, please go or navigate to the Agents tab. In here, this step is crucial because we are linking the skill that we just created with the Employee Navigator Supervisor Agent. Remember, the workflow is the skill is the one that is going to be transferred to the digital workplace. The skill is linked to the supervisor agent. And at the same time, the supervisor agent has two sub-agents connected, which is the live chat and the catalog request agent. And this is how all the workflows, works perfectly, okay? So make sure that you select from the list of agents the custom one that we just created, and do not forget to click apply. If you don't click apply, the changes are not reflected and your skill is not going to be working. I can tell you that by experience. Okay, excellent. Now, the skill is ready to be used. So at this stage, we have created a Agentic skill, and we have associated the skill with the supervisor agent. So now it's time for us to activate this within the BMC Digital Workplace. So please go back to your portal, and from here, select BMC Digital Workplace. Okay, excellent. So now it is important for us to be able for us to transfer, the skill to the digital workplace. You must have administration rights for digital workplace. Otherwise, you won't be able to put this configuration in place. How we do it? Here, from your picture, or profile picture, you can have here the administration tab. If you don't see this tab here, that means your user profile doesn't have administration rights. So please work internally to provide administration rights to your user. Otherwise, you won't be able to proceed. Okay? Now, let's go to the administration. Okay. From here, we are going to select configuration. And the configuration is going to provide us a list of features. The first feature we are going to be configuring is the chat. From the chat, you are going to use the technology that you are going to be using is Employee Navigator. And the skill that you are going to select from here is the one that we just created. As you can see on the screen, we have the BMC Employee Navigator for a skill that I have configured, but that we created during this workshop. Once this is done, please click on the close, save it, and close the window. Let me just duplicate this window and let me tell you the reason why. I want to show you something so that for you guys is very clear what we are going to be doing. We are going to be configure the Helix GPT or the Employee Navigator in 3 different places. The first place that we just did is the chat. The second one is going to be here on the search field. And the last one is going to be on this button that you can see here. Okay? So this step, the one that we just completed, is precisely for this option. And now we are going to proceed to bring the Helix GPT into the search, into the global search. Now let me see, where is my, here is my, no, here. So let's go back here to the features. The next step that we have to do to bring this to life is select, to configure it from the studio. From here, we are going to jump to the Search Views tab, and you are going to click on New View. On the New View, you are going to provide a name. In my case, it's going to be Employee Navigator for Helix. You can leave this as is. Under the View options, you select Chat and Search. Under the default view, you select Chat. And under the Helix GPT skill, this is where you are going to be selecting the skill that we just created. As before, I won't save it, but please go ahead and save it. And you will get back here to this window. From here, the next step for us will be to bring this to the homepage. How we do it? Now, let's go back to the from here to the My Pages. Under My Pages, you will have to select your own homepage. In my case, it's Apex Global Self-Service. And once you select it, on the right side from Actions, you can click on Edit. From this window, in my case, I'm going to select here the Welcome to Apex Global Self-Service field. And the components properties are going to be displayed on the left. Scroll down, and you will have to locate the search section. From the search section, you may see here, select and create. In my case, you don't see it here because I already have my, my search view selected, but you may see select here. So please click on that, and the views window is going to be displayed. So you can see here the different views that you have created. In our case, we are going to select the one that we just created, that is Employee Navigator for Helix. So select it and click Save. And what we have done right now is just linking the global search to the Helix GPT. And this is how, we configure it. Now, for the people that would like to add a button, you may or may not want it. This is absolutely, optional. You may or may not want it. In my case, I already have my button. But the way that you do it is you scroll down to the bottom group. In the bottom group, you can select, in my case, is the first button. You enter the label name, whatever name you want to have in place. Then from the link, please select application page. And then for the page itself, you are going to scroll down, and you are going to select the one that we have created for the search views. This is the way that you locate it. You can also type, on the filter here. If you remember what is the name that you use for the search view, you can always type it here, or you can just scroll down and locate it. Once you locate it, please click on Save. And now we have finished the configuration for the home page. However, before those changes can be reflected to the end users, you must click Save and Publish. In my case, I cannot do it because nothing has been changed at my end. But in your case, you should be able to click on Save and Publish. If you don't do that, you won't see all the changes that we have reflected in your homepage. So please click Save and Publish, and now you can close this window. And now it is time for us to get back to the digital workplace as a regular user, because we have completed the configuration. Now, one of the shortcuts that we can provide to you is from your browser. If you just remove the last part here in the address, you will be able to get back to the digital workplace as a regular user. Now, in the instructions that we are provided, we also have another option in where you can connect the Helix GPT to a specific, item on the menu. I am not covering this during this workshop, but in the documentation that we are providing, you can find this information. And we are not covering this just because of the time constraints, because this workshop, as you can see, is quite long. So let's continue. Excellent. So now it's time to start playing with our super Employee Navigator agent. So now you have 3 ways to test it. You can test it from here, you can test it from the global search, or you can test it here from the bottom. In my case, I am going to select to test it from here. I am not going to be able to cover every single use case from the Employee Navigator, but this is just a simple demonstration on the few capabilities that this amazing agent has. So please keep that in mind, because it's impossible really for us to cover pretty much everything. But the documentation has more information, and also you can find on the last part the support, the links to the documentation for the Employee Navigator itself. Okay, now let's begin. This is the most important part. Okay. So what are we going to be doing here? Let's start testing the knowledge base. How can we do it? For my particular case, I'm going to be typing this prompt. You will have to type a prompt from any knowledge that you know that you have in place. In my case, I know that I have knowledge articles related to VPN. So I'm going to request my agent VPN, information, and I will type, how do I connect to the VPN? And exactly as expected, Employee Navigator process the request and provide all the specific and relevant information that is coming from my knowledge base. As we explained before, this for the Employee Navigator to provide this accurate information and very, well structured, your knowledge base has to have in a very well, place and structure. Otherwise, the information is not going to be correct. So the most important part here is that it just doesn't just stop with giving me an answer. It also provides direct links to the articles. So this can give you to the user the full confidence on the accuracy of the information the agent is providing. But again, the knowledge, the quality of your knowledge matters here. Okay? The next thing that we are going to test is going to be the conversational experience when submitting requests. In my case, I am going to select, I have to request a new laptop. Then I type this, and my agent starts just trying to locate the services related to the same. In this particular case, it found 2 specific services that I can choose from. The user can either just click here and complete it manually, or you can ask the agent to help you complete it. Okay? In my case, I'm going to say, okay, I have the list, and I am saying, okay, give me the first option. And then the agent is asking me, and it's a confirmation that if really I want to proceed with the option that I selected. And I say yes. And now this is the conversational part. As you can see, the agent is now giving me the details question by question in where he's expecting me to start, providing the information. I'm going to select from the usage type, I'm going to select build, and it's going to be going to the next question. I have to select the product family. I'm going to select retail corporation. The product line. This is dependent on the services that you have in place, and it's going to be, asking the questions based on whatever you have configured your services. I will select my project. And this is when the information has been completed, the agent provides all the information, a clear summary of the request. And in case you want to change anything, you still have the opportunity to change it. In my case, I'm not going to change it, but you can do it from here. So now it's asking me for comments and business justification. And it's asking me here, no, actually it's just telling me if I want to proceed, and I will say yes. And my request will be submitted. And the best part is that it's providing me the link. So I can just click here and go here and to see how this is configured. Okay? And go back. Now, this is the first use case. What else can we do with this agent? I want to show you something very specific. And let me just, this time around, enter this prompt. It's similar to the one that we previously used, but this time around, because of the words that I am, choosing here on the prompt, is locating more services that might be related to the prompt that I just entered. Now, reason behind, I'm going to explain you the reason behind I really chose this particular use case. As before, I'm going to select the first option. And you will see how the agent works. Now, it's going to ask me, of course, if this is what I want, and I am going to say yes. And now see what it happens. And this is the reason why I selected this particular service. As you can see here, the questionnaire that has this particular service is way too complex. And that's the reason the agent is not able to help me complete the form in a conversational way. And as I explained to you during the presentation, if the services are not in compliance or they are too complex, the system or the agent is going to provide you the link directly for the user to complete it. Okay, this is the reasoning behind I selected, so you can see the difference. When the service is in compliance with our prerequisites, the service itself or the agent itself is going to help you through the questions. When it's not, it's going to hand the user the specific, service to be completed manually. But this is very good because actually instead of saying, hey, I cannot help you or I cannot find information or whatever, it really hands you, the direct link. So you don't have, as a user, you really don't have to go manually searching for the specific service that the agent was not able to help you with. Okay? So this is the reasoning behind. Now, let's go to the request handling. Now, we are going to start a new topic. Please, guys, make sure that when you are just changing, the context of the different actions that you are requesting from the agent, you always select a new topic. The new topic is important because otherwise the agent may, continue having the information from previous actions that you have, completed and may not give you the accurate results that you are just, looking for. So please, in my case, I'm going to select the new topic. And this time around, we are going to be working with the different requests. This time, I am going to request from the agent. I'm going to say list all my open requests. And the agent is going to display everything that I have open. And also it's going to be up to you, in the way that you want to request to proceed. In this particular case, for example, I would like to make a comment on the request ID that it was displaying on the window. So I'm going to say, add a comment to 3555. 3555, yes. And the agent is going to give me the option to do so. It's going to give me this button in where I have to click on here. And then I just have to provide, the justification and the reason of why. And I will say I need this laptop as soon as possible. And I will click on submit. And this information will be displayed in your request. Now, sometimes the agent doesn't hand you the link. But instead of you, getting worried, how can I get back to the request that the agent just updated? All you have to do is request it. Give me the link. And the agent should be able to give you the link of the order or the request that you just updated. And you can see here on the bottom, this is information that I just entered here. So it really updates information for you guys. You don't have to do it manually anymore. Just if the agent for some reason is not providing what you want, you have to, play with it. This is exactly the same as when you play with Gemini or when you play with ChatGPT. Sometimes the agents are not going providing the information in the way you require it. But when you explain to the agent what you need, they go for it. And they really, really, do it. So you can also, for example, let me just close this one. Instead of maybe updating, maybe I can say, you know what? Let's cancel the request. Cancel request 3555. The agent is going to get back to you for a confirmation before it proceeds, and I will say yes. And now you can see that your order has been canceled. If you click here, you can see that the status has changed and it has been canceled. So it is very easy to play with the agent, but again, sometimes you just have to, get to know each other. That's exactly the way it works. Okay, now Let's go for the next use case in regards to this request. In this particular case, I am going to request list all my pending approvals sorted by the oldest to the newest. This is really good, especially for managers or for people that that they have to approve, because sometimes I imagine that you guys receive so many information on the email and you will have to locate, and people might be pinging you because the orders or whatever the request they have not been approved. Okay, so you can see now all the pending items that I haven't worked on, and I say okay, from the oldest to the newest, and maybe I have somebody that that ping me, and I will say okay, let's try this. So before I approve anything, I'm going to say, before I approve it, give me information. Let's say on the third one, I'm going to say, before I approve it, give me the information on the item number 2 from the list you provided. And you can see that it's just giving me the summary. And you can see the salary in advance request. You can see that it's really the number 3 is the salary in advance request. Okay? You can see here, and it's telling me that this request is for a salary advance submitted by the person, and all the the information the user provided. So in my case, I'm going to say, let's approve it. And it's telling me, before proceeding, please provide a brief justification for approving this request. And this is, I'm going to say, approving this to support the employee's immediate needs. Or I don't know if I have it. But on a regular basis, it will approve it. Okay, we will have to check. But this is exactly the way that you work with the agent. Okay, it can help you to create a new request. It can help you to cancel a request. It can help you to approve a request. So pretty much this is going to be your interaction for the daily work that you guys have. And depending on your profile is what the agent is going to be capable of doing. Now, let's continue. And this time around, we are going to show you the way that this one interacts with the live chat. Okay? For the live chat, in this case, in particular case, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to request this information to the agent. I'm going to say, okay, how to enable Microsoft Teams meeting in the Outlook for Mac. The agent is processing the information and is trying to locate information based on the articles that you have, ingested into the system. And then you can see that it has provided a beautiful information all here, so many steps that I have to try. And let's imagine that I have followed all these steps and it's still not working. So I have to say, hey, I have followed the recommended steps, but it is still failing. And then the agent is going to try to continue helping me. But in my particular case, I'm going to type something that you might guys may be thinking at the moment. We all been here when everything is failing and you are in the rush and you are, pressured and frustrated. I'm going to type, I am frustrated, I need help. So the agent immediately identifies the frustration, and instead of trying to continue giving you different solutions and trying to look for more articles or trying to provide more steps, is going to provide you the information, the options. This is exactly the fallback and how the fallback works. It's going to give you the option to contact a live agent or to raise a general request. In my case, since I am very frustrated and I need immediate help, I'm going to click here on contact a live agent. And then this is going to ask you additional questions. In my case, I'm going to say applications. And then you can see here that now this has been sent, to my agent's page. Okay. So it's waiting for somebody to come online to help me. But this is how the end users are going to receive, the fallback opportunity to start dealing with a live agent. You can also type live agent and it is going to send you directly to the live agent. But let's assume that I think that we all been there where, the chatbots, they are trying to help you, and sometimes you just want to have a human being helping you. This is exactly the way the system is going to connect you. Okay? And so this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is pretty much what we have, for this particular workshop. As I explained before, we cannot show you every single use case. However, if you go to the documentation, you will be able to see all the information in regards to this amazing agent. And now, if you guys were able, to configure the Employee Navigator and you can see it working in the way that this is here, we will appreciate if you can just give us some, virtual thumbs up for everyone who successfully completed, this configuration. And now, Sam, I am getting back to you.
If you could pull up the slides again, that would be great, just so we can go through the last final bits. And then I will start unmuting everyone so you can speak to us live. Do you want to just pull up the slide deck, Veronica?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
So in summary, I know there's a few on here I can see that have come to the other workshops, but I don't want to assume anything. So we've got some great community pages that I would highly recommend you go and visit. You'll see the hyperlinks actually on this slide, and we will be sharing the slides out today. So don't worry about not having the link with you right now. I would recommend you go onto there. So the first link is about the upcoming calendar. So as and when we get new events, we're uploading them. And what you will find, although you may have gone on, say, a service collaborator or another session, because we're updating the configuration guides, do go and have a look at the workshop group, because we summarize all of the content from that particular session in a blog post, and you might find there's some extra stuff that might be useful for you. And additionally, if you do have questions for this team, although they have got an inbox and you might be working with someone independently in this team, there is also an option to ask a question on there, which the rest of the team can also answer, and it might also benefit other customers. So I would recommend, if you're used to using social collaboration forums, it would be a great place to get started. And I'm also available as well if you can't reach someone in the team. We work very closely together. We're all part of customer success. I just focus more on the education piece, which moves me in nicely. I know we've got a couple of slides. We're going to go through some other additional training. So, Veronica, if you can move to the next slide, I believe it's our Gartner slide.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we work very closely and partner up with industry standards. So you'll see there's a Gartner link and there's also Trust Radius. If it's something that interests you, you can get a gift card if you're successful and it's in your local regional currency. This comes directly from Gartner and Trust Radius. You can scan those QR codes. And again, it doesn't need to be done now. We also have the links if you don't have a mobile that allows you to do it. We really appreciate your feedback as a wider company, BMC Helix. So we'd love to get your feedback. If you can fill that in, and you may have seen something similar if you went to our roadshows last year. And then finally, education. We'll just have a quick view on here. If you've enjoyed what you see today and you're looking at still expanding your journey, if you haven't already done so, we've got some great web-based training courses. I will share the QR code, the discount code that you can use to apply to put this through with these sessions, these web-based training. So I would again recommend that you go and have a look at these training sessions. And we do also have other options, which are ILT, which is actually have an instructor led. And if we move to the next slide, Veronica. If you have a look, education, you can find it's already been updated with the Helix link. If you want to type in the search, it's very, very informative. You can type all of the different courses that we've got. And as mentioned, we've got multi-language. We do try and span up to, I think it's 160 different languages, which surprised me that we have that many, but we do. And there's also use cases, demos, various different things that you can use that can help you on your journey. And then a recommendation from our lead instructor. If you can just go to the final slide before we go to Q&A. So on recommendation, working closely with the team, there is some AI microlearning courses, and they recommend the must-dos are the ones at the top. So you can see they're all of the agent workshops we've been going through. And then there's also the opportunity to do the certification ones, which are the ILT, which I was mentioning earlier, and those are the ones at the bottom. So if you actually type in those exact words, you will be able to pick that training up. And again, I will provide that in the thank you email that will come out to you. So That leads us nicely on to questions. So I saw the team have been very busy asking questions. And I know, Christine, you had an answer and, oh, sorry, a question. And forgive me, I thought you were saying you couldn't speak to us with a microphone. So can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear?
Hello. Yes, would you like to ask your question to the team?
Sure. So, in right there in the screen, right, you can see the little microphone at the bottom right corner of the Employee Navigator, and I think I missed how to enable that.
You can enable it from here, from the administration, on the configuration, on the application features, you will see the Helix GPT speech text.
Beautiful. I missed that. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Okay. Do we have any other questions from anybody else? Let's have a little look. Nothing in the Q&A at the moment, but everybody else should have access now to speak with us live. So if you want to come off mute, it's quite a small audience today. Feel free, or you can put your questions into the Q&A. I know it's been a very long session, but it's important we cover everything. So give you the opportunity to write it or come off mute. And I think until that time, to the panelists, is there anything else that you want to add to what Veronica's shared today? Any thoughts from working with customers directly yourselves as well? Just give you the opportunity to come off mute as well.
Everything is clear.
You did such a good job of explaining everything, Veronica. Nobody has any questions, or they thought we need to get this started. Okay. So I'm going to make an assumption that we don't have any further questions. So what I will say is thank you everyone for joining today, and wonderful session by Veronica, the first that we've done. And just a quick recap what we've got coming up. We do have workshops right until the end of March. So what we have coming up next week, if you haven't already done it, is Service Collaborator. That's the Americas and EMEA region. So it's going to be the same time you've joined the session today. And then on the 19th, we also have another Americas and EMEA session, same time on for Insight Finder. If you haven't already attended that, do go back to the original link where you signed up. You should be able to see those sessions available. If you're having any problems, let me know. I can add you to the sessions. And then we do another Employee Navigator session. So this is on the 24th. If you have colleagues in APAC region and India, please do pass that link on because they can join a session which is in their early, oh, I say early morning, my early morning. And then we continue through all of the agents right up until the end of March. I think our last session is on Ops Warmer, which is March the 31st.